Hi, and welcome to Random Rogers Big Picture for the week of April 19th, 2009. The glasses we just got in from walking the dogs, so they'll be normal in a second. First, I want to remember to thank everybody who went to that website I posted on Wednesday or Thursday about helping, I guess it was Wednesday, helping animals and voting. The United Animal Friends, the rescue that Joellen works for, moved up to 11th in the country. Which is, I don't know how much to attribute that to, to the readership, but thank you very much for anyone who did vote for them. Maybe we'll get some money out of it. Okay, on to this week's topic. There was it had the potential, and actually maybe it was interesting, a segment on CNBC on Friday at the end of Power Lunch about whether 401ks are or are not a good way to save. And the actual episode was bizarre. Some guy, Dan Solin, whatever his name might have been, kind of came out guns a-blazing, and he made the comment that some of this falls on you, being CNBC. Maybe you should be a little less in Cramer we trust and a little more in Bogle we trust. And then all the anchors, and there was like 4 or 5 of them, started in on the guy defending Jim. Then Cramer came from out of nowhere. Came back from his vacation. He was out all week, but I'm pretty sure he was naturally in the studio. But seemingly coming back from vacation to bitch the guy out. And I think the discussion of the segment moved away from where it could have really added some value, which is, 401ks. What's good about them, and this is the point that the woman who was on made, is it is easier when you never get the money and then have to take the money that you've received, in your paycheck, and then put it into a savings vehicle. We don't have a 401k at my office. I get my entire paycheck. I got to carve a little bit out for, not a little bit, I have to carve, some out for taxes, some out for savings, and no matter how much you make, and it's not like I make that much money, but no matter how much you make, taxes, savings that is more difficult than never getting the money in the first place. Having been a W-2 person and now being a 1099 person, I can tell you categorically, never getting the money in the first place makes savings easier. There's no active discipline once you fill out the paperwork with your employer, as opposed to every paycheck it requires an active discipline. And so that is more difficult. That being said, the real knock against 401ks is, not invariably, but so often, the choices are just very poor. One thing, and I think I've mentioned this before, that we do, we've got all manner of clients, and so the people that who are clients who still work, we give them, some sort of second opinion on their 401k. This is what we would do based on the choices you got, that type of thing. And, I'm not sure how many of these I've looked at in this context, but the number, there are more with a poor set of choices than with a good set of choices. It really sucks for people, and so I assume, although it's a small unscientific example, I assume that most 401ks, the choices, really do suck, and it's difficult to construct, anything that resembles a really good diversified portfolio. Maybe I'm being unfair, but when some of them have one choice for foreign equities, hello. Okay, so now this moves on to kind of the next level of the debate, if you will, which is, they were talking about, well, if you're not going to put it in 401ks, Dan, what should you do? And he started talking about, IRAs and Roths and all of that stuff, okay. And then, but what about the market? And this is what Cramer jumped on the guy about, how indexing hasn't worked in however many years. It's been yada, yada, okay. So this is where the talk gets a little tougher, in that, no matter what's going on in your life now over the duration of your entire investing career, there's certain things that are going to happen, okay? So there's parts of the equation. There's your savings and there's the return that you get. and then I guess maybe the manner in which you live your life spending money. Something there is going to give if you go through an adverse period of time in the market. Someone who's 30 or in their early 40s, okay, here we are in the mid-2000s, and we've had a 10-year round trip to nowhere, kind of like we did 35 years ago. And before that, it was back in the 30s, so maybe it was give or take 40 years earlier. So every 30 or 40 years, we may be in for something like a decade-long round trip to nowhere. And so if you're 30 years old now, then this probably doesn't hurt you so much. But then maybe when you're in your 60s, and chances are you're going to have to work longer, you get another one of these. So then it boils down to, if you don't save properly, okay, or you don't get the return that you need even though you do save properly, something in there is going to have to give, and you're going to have to figure out how you're going to deal with it. One way to mitigate the consequence of that is to save a whole lot more than whatever it is you're saving now. That is the easiest way. And then the second easiest way, maybe, is to live below your means. I love the one, and I don't know who to attribute this to. I can't imagine that I made it up. But who is richer, the person who makes $100,000 and lives like they make $200,000, or the person who makes $20,000 and lives like they make $10,000? I love that saying. It is a great, kind of, motto or whatever. And ultimately, that sort of thing, we all are going to have to face this sort of thing if not everything runs as smoothly as we would like. If you didn't, start saving in 1978 and then retire in 1999 and put it all into bonds, anyone who did that, this doesn't apply. Everybody else, it does. And so you're going to have to figure out what's going to give or what you're going to do now to mitigate the chance of something having to give. And there's no easy answer to it. You have to save more. During the week, I tweeted something about, Stephen Roach citing some statistics somewhere, I'm sure he got it from somewhere, where the savings rate went up from 0.8% to 4.2%. And my comment was 10% isn't enough. I don't think 10% is enough. I think we need to be saving, something in the neighborhood of 20% of our of what we make, and then plan on, not spending a lot of money, not spending frivolously. We all have our thing, and it's difficult to let go of that thing that we want to spend money on. And I'm just as guilty as anybody, but we do save a big chunk of what we make here. Hopefully you do the same. It's crucial to making your future easier on you, especially if the market is either lumpier or doesn't quite give what it has given in the past. All right, I'm about out of time. Have a great weekend.